Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming to the breakfast this morning. We're so happy to see everybody. We're going to start the morning with a video, so all eyes up front.
So 17Strong is a movement of a more connected Hamilton at its core. 17Strong and the amazing volunteers from different corners of the city really work to connect those residents to the information, the resources, and to each other to build a better city.
For those who do understand, I think they know for sure, because of the experiences they've had, that 17Strong is all about making connections. It's developing trust. It's enabling the residents to be empowered to do what they know needs to be done in their neighborhood, or what they value and want to see done in their neighborhood.
You see 17Strong, which came from within the community, has obviously been very well helped and guided by the city. There's opportunities there for us as a community and community members to speak up and also take action as volunteers, as community leaders, as doers. And I think that's one of the most special parts about Hamilton that I've ever seen.
Our community will be as strong as our neighborhoods. I'm convinced, having worked now for a while with 17Strong, that each neighborhood brings a different personality, a different attitude, but working together, connecting, is really what our whole community is about, and that's why these neighborhoods are so important.
17Strong and a lot of the work that's done, the grassroots work that's done in the community in terms of bringing people in our 17 neighborhoods together is so vital, it's so important, because that gives us an opportunity to get to those meetings, to work with the individual neighborhoods, because each neighborhood in the city, it has its own unique charm and character.
I love 17Strong. I love what they have created and how they have helped neighborhoods identify. I'd love to see every single neighborhood have ambassadors and a strong 17Strong representative in that.
Watch out, world, here comes Hamilton.
Good morning. We're really glad that you all are here. This is a banner crowd, and we love having a celebration breakfast so that we can honor the many different people who have contributed to 17Strong throughout this whole year. I'm absolutely convinced that 17Strong is truly a movement. It really is about connections, whether it's a neighbor connecting to a next door neighbor or a down the road neighbor, or whether it's neighborhoods connecting to neighborhoods. It's about empowerment. It's about giving you the resources so that your great ideas can become reality. That's what we're thinking and talking about when we say, we is greater than me. All of us working together will accomplish so much more than just a single person. Someone had asked me the other day, how in the world did micro grants begin? What's the story behind that? And I'll give you a quick little snippet. Back in the day, when Joshua Smith was hired as city manager, I was on city council, and the city administration said, we need a path forward. We need to know where we're going. We need to know when we reach results. And so we put together a strategic plan that had 4 major components. One component was named Create a Sense of Place. And that was about neighbors, it was about neighborhoods, it was about riverfront, it was about downtown. And we had many meetings. We had so many meetings, we met for years. But that's all we did was talk. And it's finally like, no, wait a minute. Several of us came together and said, we can't talk any longer. We need results. So what happened was Create a Sense of Place morphed into 17Strong for our three different types of neighborhoods, urban, suburban, and traditional. We created a board of advisors. We developed a budget, and we said, micro grants. Again, if I'm a resident and I have an idea for my neighborhood to make it safer, cleaner, and more active, I may not have the resources. But if we have grants, then we have an opportunity to say, here, let's see what your idea is all about. And that's how micro grants began. I also wanted to mention to you very briefly, there's a table out in the hallway called the Friends of 17Strong. because grants are so important to us so that we can share those available dollars with residents, we didn't want to ever do anything to use that money in different ways. We wanted to have a celebration breakfast. We want to have a summit, which we will have in June, but we didn't want to use the grant money to fund those or partially fund those. So we created a group, residents, citizens of Hamilton, and we talked about our Hamilton Community Foundation and having a fund there. A tax-deductible donation to the Friends of 17 Strong means that we then have the opportunity for our breakfast and our summit. So out there on the table, you'll see a brochure that talks about the Friends of 17 Strong. You'll also see an envelope that if you want to make a donation to the Hamilton Community Foundation, that's possible. So we're just doing all of that in the spirit of maintaining and growing 17 Strong so that it does continue to be a movement making a difference in our community. So thank you again for being here, and I want to recognize some individuals who are with us today, in particular, our city liaison. The Department of Neighborhoods is magic. They are our link to the city. They are our conduit. They are our voice. They help us make sense out of ideas. And I will recognize those who are with us today. Brandon Sarber, Peggy Bangy, Sarah Silva, Maddie Watkins, and Maddie's intern who's with us today too, Ainsley Tinsman, and Bob Batterson, who is not with us, but he's part of that group. So thank you, Department of Neighborhoods. Also, I want to recognize the 17 Strong Advisory Board, and please stand when I mention your name. Carol Combs, my colleague right here, Kyle Cummins, Greg Bistorff, Arnita Gunn, Sue Head, Angela Jarrett, Jay Kidd, Sarah Kraus, Bethany Spaeth, John Brubaker, and Chris Marichello. So thanks to all of you. Now I will introduce to you my colleague, Carol Combs.
Good morning, Hamilton. What a great feeling it is to be in this space with you all to celebrate the successes of our neighborhoods over the last year. Over the years, 17 Strong has evolved from just being a pillar of our city's strategic plan to a whole social movement, where residents are empowered to create safer, cleaner, more engaged neighborhoods. A movement where residents are joining forces to do some really amazing things and really living out our mantra of "we is greater than me." Over the last few months, I've had the opportunity to chat with some of the very people who started this movement, and what has struck me about each of those conversations is not their excitement about what they did, but their excitement of what is happening now and what is coming in the future. And thinking about today and how to bridge the gap between those who are here on the Miami Regional's campus celebrating and those at home, I thought I would try something a little different, something that helps all of us begin thinking about the future and the role we play in it. If you know me at all, you know that I'm a fan of artifacts. It is something that reminds us of a time that we did something together, a memory we shared. So today, you all are going to create an artifact right where you're sitting. And it is an artifact that is related to fabric. So with you all sitting, there's pens and paper, and I just invite you now to grab a piece of paper and a pen at your table. And as you do that, I want to share that fabric for me is a pretty fantastic analogy for what we are celebrating today. When you look at fabric, you will see that it's made up of thousands of interlacing strands. Each strand is pretty fragile on its own, but when weaved together, these strands get stronger and the fabric grows into something that can provide warmth, shelter, and comfort, just like our community. On your piece of paper now, I invite you to draw a rectangle and divide that rectangle into 5 spots. Now for me, it's helpful to imagine a quilt. And that is how I will be referencing your artifact for the remainder of our time together. And over the next few minutes, we're gonna touch it 5 times. Just a couple things as you all draw your quilt. I want to remind you that every mark matters. So it can be a word or a doodle, whatever you choose. Sometimes it's easier for us to work with someone next to us. So if you feel like you want to pair up with someone to do this, that is a-okay. Nobody is going to see this unless you share it. And full disclaimer, we are going to move through this pretty fast because we have a lot of celebrating to do. Okay, are we ready? All right. I invite you now to pick a square on your quilt and write or make a doodle that represents the neighborhood you live in. Our neighborhoods not only represent the present and the future, but the past as well, with the rich history that lives there. What is your neighborhood? All right, so now that we've named our neighborhoods, I invite you now to pick a space on your quilt and write or make a doodle that represents a place in your neighborhood where people gather. Or maybe there's a place you would love to see people gather. Gathering places in our neighborhoods not only get us connecting with each other, but they are a place where information is exchanged and where we get to know our neighbors a little bit better. What place is active, or what place would you love to see active in your neighborhood? All right, you guys are sticking with me, I love it. So we've named our neighborhoods, we've named a place where we would love to see people begin to gather. I invite you now to pick a square on your quilt and make a doodle or write the name, or write something that you would like to see come to life in that space. Maybe it's a movie night, maybe it's an art event or live music, or maybe it's signage that demonstrates your pride for your neighborhood you live in. Whatever it is, let's get that represented on your quilt. Great, I told you we were moving fast. So we've named neighborhood, place, something we would love to see come to life. I invite you now to pick a square and write or make a doodle that represents someone you think would enjoy helping you make that vision come to life. Maybe it's someone you live with. Maybe it's a neighbor. Maybe it's someone that lives just a few blocks away. Whoever it is, name them. It is always more fun when we join forces and do things together. We is greater than me. I'm loving the smiles and the chatter. This is fantastic. As we round out this part of the morning, I would love for us to cast vision for the future. I invite you now to write a word or draw a doodle in that last space of your quilt that represents a contribution you hope to make to your neighborhood in the upcoming year. Each of us has unique gifts and skills that make contributing possible. And when we contribute, we grow stronger and the fabric of our community grows stronger. Thank you guys so much for joining me in making this artifact of our time together today. I am so proud to live in a city made up of amazing people with amazing spaces. Let's keep doing great things together. And thanks for playing along. It is now my honor to introduce our presenting sponsor, Josh Hodges. Josh Hodges is a lifelong Hamiltonian. He graduated from Hamilton High School after spending his childhood on the North End and Lindenwood. He worked his way through attending classes at Miami Regionals, being one of the first classes to graduate with a 4-year degree from the branch campuses. After he graduated, Josh pursued a law degree from Northern Kentucky University. He graduated summa cum laude, top 5% of his class, and as student bar president. After graduation, Josh was recruited by one of the largest law firms in the Midwest. There he obtained experience in various types of civil litigation, including the defense of personal injury cases. He then left the firm to start his own practice and shortly thereafter teamed up with Scott Kruger from Kruger and Hodges. Josh and Scott's practice is headquartered in the heart of downtown Hamilton, but has expanded to include 6 offices throughout Southwest Ohio. They have built a law firm for the modern day, focusing on developing the experience and implementing the technology of a big city law firm without losing their small town values. Josh and Scott do their best to live up to their hometown lawyers tagline by giving out numerous scholarships to Butler County High School seniors and supporting sports teams and events throughout the year. They have a large social media following and really enjoy highlighting local businesses and spotlighting all the great things their fellow Hamiltonians are doing in the community. Josh lives in Dayton Lane Historic District with his wife Heather, son Isaac, and daughter Lila Jane. Scott. It's all yours, Josh.
Good morning, everybody. And thank you, Carol, for the introduction. And we want to thank everybody who puts all the work to put this breakfast together. I know putting on things like this is a lot of work. And 17 Strong is such a grassroots hometown organization. I know me and Scott are really honored just to be a part by sponsoring this breakfast, and I'm really glad to be here with you today. Peggy told me I just need to talk for a few minutes about why I like Hamilton so much. And that's easy enough because there are a lot of things I love about this town. But you know, I am a lawyer, and we always tell the truth, don't we, Pat? So if I'm being completely honest, although I always did love the people and the water, and I had a lot of fun growing up here, I didn't always think this place was the place I wanted to chase my dreams. I just didn't know if it was the spot for me to really do some of the big things I wanted to do. You see, I've always been kind of a dreamer, and like a lot of dreamers, I didn't really dream about staying in my hometown. I had a lot of big things I thought I wanted to do, and when I was a kid, it just didn't seem like this was the place to do it. Unfortunately, like a lot of dreamers, I also didn't dream about doing my homework too much when I was young, so when I graduated high school, I didn't have a lot of prospects. Really, the only thing I was good at was making my girlfriend laugh, who's my wife now, and somehow she liked me and let me move into an apartment with her up when she was finishing college. She had been doing her homework, so she was getting done fast. And so I moved up to an apartment with her by the Dayton Mall, and we lived there 1 year, as far as I've ever gotten away from Hamilton. It's a half-hour away for 1 year. But I got a job when I was up there at a restaurant, and my boss's name was Keith. And probably the first week or two, he asked me if I was from that area, and I said, no, I'm from Hamilton. And he started laughing, and I figured he was going to make fun of me for something, because it wouldn't have been the first time. I figured he was going to say some kind of lighthearted joke about our town. But I think he saw that I was expecting that, and his demeanor kind of changed. He was kind of a serious guy, and he said, I'm just laughing because every single person that I've ever met from Hamilton says they're from Hamilton with a little extra like they're really proud of it. And he said, and I've just always thought that was kind of funny. And that wasn't what I was expecting him to say. And I was like, did I just do that just now? And he assured me, he chuckled again and assured me that I had. So I was like, I remember even walking away with my tray like saying, I'm from Hamilton under my breath because I didn't hardly believe it. But, you know, I really say it that way, but it's kind of funny. So I think that's when I realized I always did kind of love this town, but for a while, I think it was because I had a chip on my shoulder about it. But we lived up there for a year. We moved back in 2005. And I got serious, kind of flipped the switch one day, decided I wanted to start doing my homework. And quick 10 years later, I graduated from here, Miami Hamilton, went to law school, passed the bar, got a job at a fancy law firm. So I changed a lot in that 10 years. But during that 10 years, Hamilton, we all know, was changing a lot too. And think about somewhere around that time, I stopped saying Hamilton so proudly because I had a chip on my shoulder, but it was more something like, I'm from Hamilton, then I'd say, it's getting a lot better to people that didn't know. The vibe was changing. We weren't maybe there yet. I know a lot of us probably did that. First few years as a lawyer, my phone rang a lot, and it was usually people I knew from Hamilton. Someone I went to junior high with, or someone I worked in a factory with, or one of my grandma's neighbors. They always need some kind of help with something. But big corporate law firms, they don't take cases for people. They usually take big corporations. So I'd usually have to tell them I couldn't take their case. And it did hurt me a little bit each time because I knew they wanted me to help, not some other lawyer I sent them to. And that wore on me for 2-3 years when I was working at the big firm. And then by 2018, I decided I wanted to maybe start my own firm. And by 2018, Hamilton had really transformed. People in this room, other people, had done so much work to change Hamilton from a place I thought I had to leave to chase my dreams into a place I knew that's where I needed to be. So I decided to team up with Scott. We started our law firm, one of the best things I've ever done. Hamilton's been so supportive of us, and we've been able to not only do well in Hamilton, but expand outside of Hamilton to offices all around Southwest Ohio. And we're lucky in Ohio in general. There's a lot of cool towns in Ohio. I get to go to a lot of them every day. I travel around a lot. But there's not too many places like Hamilton, where so many people on a Saturday morning would come out, have breakfast together just to celebrate the neighborhoods they're from, all 17 of them. We really live in a special place, full of people who really care about their town and its future. And it's a place where people have big dreams, young, old, people my age. They can make them reality if they try hard enough. So whether we realize it or not, we all say we're from Hamilton with a little extra oomph. My old boss assured me of that. And maybe some of us used to say it because we had a chip on our shoulder, but we don't have to do that anymore. I don't even think we have to add the explanation that it's getting better to people anymore. I think we're getting on to the phase where people in surrounding towns are just going to know why we put a little extra when we say, I'm from Hamilton. Thank you. Have a good breakfast.
Thank you, Josh. I now get to introduce our micro grant committee. And so I invite Zoo Head, who heads up our micro grant committee. She's the chair there. And Peggy Bangy from our Department of Neighborhoods. And we're going to celebrate some micro grants and hear from some of the recipients this year. So ladies, if you'll take the stage.
Thanks so much, Carol, and thank everyone for coming today. It's so good to see so many people here, and especially those, I know there are a number of you out there, who are former recipients of micro grants, and some of your events and projects are still going on in town. So it's just a wonderful way to hear about ideas and the creativity and enthusiasm of the people that live here in our city. I'm going to start, first of all, because I'm so proud of our micro grant committee. I want to start by introducing you to them. And let's keep in mind that these are all volunteers, and they have a big job to do. And our job is about to get really big as our micro grant applications are coming in for this round. And once the applications come in, we will spend most of the day on a Saturday going through all of the applications, and then we will spend 2 evenings bringing in the individuals that we've chosen to do presentations, looking forward to recommending those for funding by the microgrant committee. So at this time, I'd like to introduce you to these great stewards of our city's money, who work tirelessly to choose the best projects we can that will make a difference within our city. When I say your name, stand up. Don't be shy. Sarah Krause, Angela Jarrett, Bethany Spaeth, Ellie Watkins, Michelle Joseph, Scott O'Donohoe, Joanna Lowry, Jennifer Caldwell, Megan Helms, and Peggy Bangy, who is our city liaison. Thank you so much. Okay, now I'd like to tell you a little bit about each type of micro grant or grant that we have as part of our micro grant program. Beginning with what we call traditional micro grants. We used to have traditional micro grants that we gave out 3 times a year. Now we're down to traditional micro grants once a year. And those are grants that are given to Hamilton residents for unique projects and programs or events held in neighborhoods, either neighborhoods or citywide. Residents can apply for anywhere from $500 to $2,500 for their projects. In 2023, and this is why I say this is a big project for this group, we had 37 micro grant applications. This year's micro grant application opened on Friday, February 9th, and the link to the micro grant application can be found on the 17Strong website. The application will close at midnight on Saturday, March 9th. On April 1st, the 2024 micro grants will be awarded. The next type of grant that we also give is called a sponsorship grant. And sponsorship grants are given to previously funded micro grant projects. Recipients of sponsorship grants have been funded for at least 2 years prior to receiving the sponsorship grant. It's a way for us to continue to support the event or project. So in 2023, we funded 4 sponsorship grants. So 4 previously funded grant recipients came back to us and said, you know, we would like you to continue funding us. And so that's what we did. Each sponsorship grant recipient receives $500 toward their ongoing project. The next type of grant that we give is they're called nano grants. And a nano grant is awarded to 5th grade students in Hamilton. We have a nano grant committee consisting of myself, Peggy, Kathy Klink, Joan Stidham, and Christina Lotta Lanefeld. We work with the teachers and students to develop meaningful projects within the school or the community. Highland Elementary, Riverview Elementary, and Ridgeway Elementary are all past recipients of 4 $500 nano grants, totaling $2,000. This year, drum roll please, we are excited to announce that our nano grant partner is Linden Elementary. We look forward to the students. Putting together their ideas for their community projects. Okay, now I'm going to turn it over to Peggy.
Good morning again. I get to announce the 4th kind of grant. It is my favorite, I have to say, and it's called Love Your Block. And many of you maybe have been part of that. I'm going to read a little bit about it. The Love Your Block, it's a program designed to encourage neighbors to take pride in making the front of their home a place to spend time, interacting with their neighbors, and building those neighborhood ties. Love Your Block is open to any Hamilton resident that lives in one of the 17 neighborhoods. Also, a grant application for Love Your Block, that would include 3 to 4 homes that are in close proximity of each other, because that's the impact that you would make in your neighborhood, is if those homes are close together. During a typical Love Your Block workday, which many of you have been to, you will see us doing things like mulching, power washing, painting porches, planting flowers, laying some heavy landscape rock, edging walkways, and trimming trees and bushes. It truly exemplifies the meaning and our motto of "We is greater than me" with the Love Your Block project. If you or your neighbors are interested, they will be opening up on June 16th. So we've shared a little bit about the different grants, but you guys need to hear firsthand from somebody that has experienced a grant this past year. So we have a forum today of microgrants. So I'm going to introduce you to them. They're going to come up on stage, and we're going to ask them each questions, and you guys can learn a little bit about these different grants. Okay, I'm going to start with Olivia Combs. Olivia is with the Prospect Hill neighborhood, and she received a traditional microgrant. Candace White, she's from the Riverview neighborhood, sponsorship grant. Come on up. You have to come, Candace. Katie Sugg, which we are so proud of. Katie and her group from Ridgeway Elementary, they received the Nano Grant Award last year, and her students are Jake Hartford, Layla Grant, Jackson Reed, and Grayson Wagle. And the last one is Amy Force. She's with the Prospect Hill neighborhood, and she is a Love Your Block recipient. I'll hand it back to Sue.
Okay, I'm going to give each of the recipients a question for them to answer for you. And we're going to start with Olivia. Tell us about your microgrant sponsored event. Like what was the name of it, where it was held, and how you organized it. Yeah, I turned it on.
No, I think we're good. Hi, Olivia Combs from Prospect Hill. I created, along with some of my neighbors, the Won't You Be My Neighbor block party event that we held at Jim Grimm last summer in July. We had about 150 neighbors come, and we tie-dyed t-shirts and painted rocks to leave around the neighborhood. Flub's ice cream came, and it was just an event for us to come together and learn about each other, especially as a new resident into Hamilton. I moved in about October of 22, and so one thing that I always wanted to do was connect with those around me. So that was kind of the aim of this, was we have a lot of new residents in the neighborhood, and some who have lived in the neighborhood for 50 plus years. So connecting those people together and share how much we love Hamilton through that Won't You Be My Neighbor event, which was awesome.
Okay, you can pass the microphone to Candace. Candace, your question is, how did you come up with the sponsorship grant idea for your Juneteenth celebration?
So, to keep it short and sweet, I have to give it up to the city of Hamilton, because the city of Hamilton made Juneteenth a city holiday before the federal government made it a federal holiday. So with that news being that I've certainly heard about Juneteenth prior to it being a holiday and becoming popular, as I say. So it's like, why not bring something to the city to celebrate this, to educate others, and not only our neighbors, our partners, but even ourselves, because we're still learning about this. So that is pretty much, in a nutshell, how the Hamilton Juneteenth celebration, an idea, turned into an executed event.
Wonderful. So this is Katie Sugg. Katie, how did your fifth grade teachers and students feel about the Nano Grant opportunity?
Well, one thing I want to say is that as teachers, I sat down with them this week and we talked about how we saw students feel empowered to make a difference in their community. Even at the age of 10 and 11 years old, they made decisions that I was not expecting them to make, and they worked together, they saw their vision, and they put in plan in action. So it was wonderful to see that. As students, some of them shared that it made them come out of their shell a little bit and just feel a little confidence and socially ready to go out and take on the world type thing. And even just recently, they were able to present to our school board some of their ideas in sixth grade. So that was wonderful. It gave them that confidence.
Amy, how did you find out about the Love Your Block program?
So I I worked for the school, and I started following all of the Hamilton stuff that I could find. I started seeing social media posts about the Love Your Block, and I was just really interested because I really do care about, the way that we present ourselves to the outside world, and I just thought it was a beautiful idea, and I wanted to maybe be a part of that if possible.
Awesome. We're going to start the next round of questions with you, so go ahead and keep the microphone. As the lead applicant for the Love Your Block application. What was involved in organizing the 3 houses that you chose?
So I reached out to some of the neighbors that I had already known. I went and knocked on a couple of doors to neighbors that I hadn't talked to so many times, but I have a neighbor who is handicapped, and I really wanted to include her in it. So I just kind of started a group chat and invited everybody. We started talking about the possibilities and what everybody thought. So it was just kind of getting everybody on the same page and getting that group chat started, just starting these conversations about, the front of our neighborhood and if, how we cared about making sure that it was presentable and, getting everybody together to do that.
Good. Hey, Katie. Katie, what were the 4 projects that you and your students picked?
Okay. So the first one was our no-sew blankets. This was one of Layla's ideas along with 2 other students. They worked together in the months of October and November. We have a team of students. They're called the 17Strong Student Squad that we made up for our student council name now. So it's kind of just continually getting the 17Strong neighborhoods idea out there. But basically, they gave up recess to make all these blankets. We made 23 no-sew blankets and provided them to New Life Mission. And Oscar came over, and he was so excited and so thankful to receive these. Peggy and I spent an hour and 30 minutes at Hobby Lobby with this lady as she continued to cut each section. And we said at the very end that we would be so thankful to just bring her, a gift card or dinner, because it was a wonderful experience. She and I bonded over that time, so it was great. And the next one would be our tree planting. Jake was involved in this, Jake Hartford. After teaching a lesson last year, we were learning about the Cherry Blossom Festival that happens every year in Washington, D.C. It was a short reading passage, but they were so empowered by the blooming that was happening on all those trees, and we watched a live video, and they were like, why can't we do that at our building? So one of the nano grants was to purchase 3 pink dogwood trees, and they are now planted in front of Ridgeway Elementary as you drive along Wasserman. So that was really cool. The cube cleanup. Sorry, I'm kind of going in order of what I was thinking. The cube cleanup is what we did last June. We went all along Millville and also Wasserman, and we had about 45 people come out and help clean up the sides of the street. And after, they got to celebrate with Cheese and Chong food truck, popsicles and water. And so that was really nice to have teachers from our building come, students, and even families within our community come and help clean up. Now it's dirty again. And so we actually are planning for our 17Strong Student Squad to rent the cube in May as well as in April. And one of the times we're going to be partnering, I think, with Highland Elementary and go clean up along High Street as well. So it'll be both Student Squad from from Ridgeway as well as Highland Elementary, and we're going to be partner cleaning up. So that was a thing that came to fruition from just doing your cube cleanup. Cool. And then the last one is something we've not done yet. It's the electric box mural. So on the corner of Millville and Wasserman, there's an electric box there. A student last year, and she's a 6th grader now, Carly, she designed what's going to be painted along the side of that electric box. Kind of like all of the Street Spark murals. That's where we took that from, and now students will get to see that every day, whether they're coming in on buses, right there on the corner of Millville. And I don't know if there's a picture. Peggy, is there a picture? No? Okay. So it's a bunch of sunflowers, and it just looks so beautiful. I think it'll brighten everybody's day. So we're doing that this May, and Street Spark's providing the paint, and then Tam's Construction is also providing the priming of everything. So we just have to time out the weather. So it'll happen in May.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Candace, can you tell us about how your son was involved in your decision to ask for a microgrant for the Juneteenth celebration?
Certainly. So my son, Dion Otis, who's now 15 years old, cue the tears, he was 11 years old. And this is just going back to what I didn't know, is that the city was making Juneteenth a city holiday. I got a phone call and a text message from Sammy Broyles at the BTW Community Center. And he's like, Candace, we've got something going on at the center, and is there any way that Dion can write something? It has to be short and sweet. Write something about Juneteenth. I know you know about Juneteenth. Can he do that? Oh, sure. So little Dion, he wrote out in his great big old letters and sentences what Juneteenth meant to him and why that was important. We were invited to BTW for him to pretty much, I don't want to say have a speech, but he explained to City Council what Juneteenth meant to him as well as his family. The proclamation was handed to him, so it was, presented at that time. Unbeknownst to me, as well as Dion, that he would be summoned to City Council to make an official ask about the Hamilton, or about Juneteenth in the city of Hamilton. So my little boy, he went up and he stood at that podium in the council chambers, and he explained what Juneteenth is to him, why it's important. Mind you, he did this alone, all by his lonesome. I was in the very back, holding back my tears. And he did that alone. He made that ask. He explained what Juneteenth was, and he thanked them for making it a city holiday. So with that, and kind of tying back into the very first question of how this idea became a planned execution grand event in the city of Hamilton, he says, Mom, because we're used to getting together with family, which I plan the family events as well. We do about 3 events a year. And he's like, Mom, we've got to do something. We need a celebration. So that's where the Hamilton Juneteenth celebration came from. Because in other metro cities, you'll see it called a festival. You'll see it as a parade. You'll see it as a block party. But here it's a celebration, because we're celebrating many things. And that really makes me proud. He's a baseball player. So oftentimes he's in a tournament during Juneteenth or that weekend. So the very first year he was able to make it, because I'm like, you know what, Coach? He's going to miss this one. He has somewhere to be. And the inaugural was held at the BTW Community Center. It was amazing. The second year, I didn't really win the battle. They needed him on the team, but he did come afterwards. And as well as last year, he was able to help me. I recently launched a shaved ice business in I have a little converted horse trailer, and he was able to work that. So he's like my very first employee at the Hamilton Juneteenth celebration, where his mom was also a vendor. So I have to give it up to my son, because even with his passion, he gets it from me. I mean, when he's passionate about something, he gives it 110%. But he made that ask to City Council. And every once in a while, I'll go back and I'll look at that video, and I just say, wow, 11 years old to get up there and do that on TV in front of all these folks you may not know. I mean, he's seen the mayor many times, but to read that and make that ask, I mean, it's powerful to me. And my little son, Dion Otis, is a part of the history in Hamilton. That makes me very proud.
Thank you so much. Okay, Olivia, what is a word that best describes your experience applying for a microgrant?
Oh, that's a good one. I would say really just comes down to growth. Not only growth in myself, but growth in the community. So I had my big ol' eyes coming in, my first home that I bought all by myself, and what I wanted to do not only for myself, but for the community that I've loved so much since I was a little girl. Throughout the whole process, I learned a lot about me. I learned about my new neighbors and formed some really fantastic friendships. And it all comes down to becoming a better person, making Hamilton a better place, and that's all growth.
Wonderful. Candace, being a sponsorship grant recipient, can you tell us how the micro grant monies helped with your event?
Absolutely. So the very first year, we were awarded the traditional micro grant for the Hamilton Juneteenth celebration. We received the full amount, which was $2,500. And initially, it was an idea, and I'm like, how's this going to happen? Because I'm just little old Candace. And somehow, some way, we're going to make it work. So BTW opened up their facility for the Hamilton Juneteenth celebration. 17Strong gave $2,500. With that, we were able to give out, we did free hot dogs, juice and chips. We had a DJ, we had sponsors, all the things that were needed to put an event on and execute it. We were able to do that with the traditional micro grant from 17Strong. Going into the second year, same thing. Hey, we want to keep this going. This isn't just a one and done. How are we going to do it? So, of course, knock, knock, 17Strong. How can you help with this? And this is where the impact of 17Strong kind of, I realized it. I mean, I knew how large 17Strong was. I knew how important and how instrumental they were, but to see the power that 17Strong can bring to just an idea, it moved me. So again, I'm just Candace doing something here, the connections that were made. So I was partnered up with, I got an email from David Stark introducing himself. I believe Peggy introduced us, if I'm not mistaken. And the vendor population was a little lower than anticipated coming off of the first year. Got an email from David, and right off the bat, we had, I want to say it was a couple more sponsors, several vendors. We had photography, videography, we had art, we had energy, and we had David. So you just say that, and that just brings so much to the table. But the resources, it was all over Facebook. There was an ad on like Cincinnati Arts or something like that. It began to reach other places that just alone, a few people probably wouldn't have made that happen if it weren't for 17Strong. Going into the third year, the same thing, those resources. And now I'm getting phone calls and emails about how can I help? I got your information from Peggy, or I got your information from someone at the city. I want to be a part of this. It just continued to grow. And the resources that are available, it's just wow. It opens the doors for so many other things that's not only Hamilton Juneteenth or, hey, can you help with this idea? I just recently had a phone call. Let me just back up real quick. After the second year, there were comments of people from different cities in Cincinnati that said they enjoyed the Hamilton Juneteenth celebration much better than they did their own. So I thought that was powerful, and there were others who heard these types of comments as well. But just last week, I got a phone call and a text message on Facebook from someone from the city of Westchester asking, how do you do it? Who helps you? How do you make it happen? And I explained, I said, we have a group here in Hamilton called 17Strong. I have to give it up to them. So I'm like, I'm not sure if Westchester has anything like that. And they told me, no, they don't. So it's like, you really have to jot down your ideas. Maybe go to your city and ask them if they have something like this, but you're going to need it, especially being that this lady, she's also just a resident trying to do something. She came to the Hamilton Juneteenth celebration and loved it, so she wants to duplicate that in Westchester. That, to me, once again, shows us that the city of Hamilton is not only leaders within just our town, but also now spanning through the county and even regionally. So this isn't the first time that we've heard comments like this about what's happening in the city of Hamilton. And it's all stemming from 17Strong, by them being able to make these things happen with these monies and these reimbursable grants that we're able to put events on in our city, town, or even our neighborhood is expanding and reaching other places. So all of us in this room, city residents, we are setting the example for real, as I like to say. So
Thank you so much. Katie, what did your students learn from creating their projects?
I'm going to let them speak a little
Good.
bit. If you want to speak? You're good. Well, like I said earlier, I feel like they're doing a project in 6th grade right now related to this new curriculum that we took on, and they felt confidence in being able to present their ideas. I mean, I know how nervous they were when they walked into my classroom that first day in 5th grade. And I've watched them grow so much and blossom into, like young adults, taking things on that I never thought that they would. I feel like I can always count on them and rely on them. But for them as students, I felt like they said, what's one other thing you shared with me when we sat down? When they sat down. One of the things that they did say was, I feel like just being a kid, I'm able to really actually make a change. Like that was one thing that they mentioned. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Amy, what was your before and after reaction to the day's events?
Before, it was just a lot of work to get out there with just my family, and to have after when we had the cube show up and then we had all the volunteers show up, everybody had a smile on their face. We had neighbors stop by while we were working on the yard and just compliment us and tell us how amazing of a job we were doing. After we completed the yard, we did see neighbors actually doing other things around their yards, picking up. We live in a place where the river, there is a lot of rubbish that ends up by our houses. So I think a lot of people, just started taking more pride in the way that our homes looked and the front of our neighborhood looked. It was inspiring just to see everybody come together to help people that they didn't even know. They stopped at, our house to talk to us just because we were their neighbors. And it was an amazing opportunity to get to know some other people. And we are renters, so it even amped up our landlord to be like, hey, we've got our renters that really care. We've been there for several years, and we care about our neighborhood. We care about, there's the bus stop right in front of my house. This is where kids stand. And to see them take initiative to start trying to work on not only outside appearances, but inside appearances, it was very heartwarming, and I'm thankful that we had the opportunity to work with 17Strong and all the volunteers that came out. It was very, very special.
This is our last question. It's for you.
Oh, okay.
Would you recommend others applying for a Love Your Block grant, and why?
I would encourage everybody to apply that it's hard work to get out there and to do all these things by yourself when you're full-time, have 3 kids full-time running around. To get everybody together, it just lightens the load so much. And just to see the amount of people that actually do care, and just to have that camaraderie and community getting together, I absolutely encourage everybody that's interested to get out there and apply. And not only that, but maybe, get out one day and go help a neighbor, go, volunteer for the 17Strong. It's a great feeling to be a part of that.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone that came up here. Okay, at this time, I would like to invite our Director of the Department of Neighborhoods, Brandon Sarber.
I'm from Hamilton. How's my oomph, Josh? Before I get started with this, I do want to recognize, I'm not going to make you guys stand, but I just want to say to those of you who are leading neighborhood groups, to those of you who are participating in committees for 17Strong, past board members who are here, I see you. I see you, and I'm so glad that you're here. And As Mallory Greenham likes to say, sometimes the city gets too much credit. A lot of the great stuff that is happening in this city is a result of the people that are in this room. So thank you. Give yourself a round of applause. Last year, we expanded our awards as a part of this event. This will be the third Clink Award that we've given out, but it's only the second year that we've given these next 3 awards out. And these 3 awards are given by the staff of the Department of Neighborhoods as a way to recognize the outstanding partners and individuals who support this movement of a more connected Hamilton. You see, the wins that we've seen here that we heard just a minute ago, in and of themselves are not earth-shattering, but the accumulation of these great deeds and things that are happening in our city pile up to make this movement really something special. I have no doubt that the following honorees will be humble about their contributions, but we need them to know that their humble commitment to these acts make them leaders and beacons of hope for our city. So the first award for Small Business of the Year, the business community is an important component of a more connected city. They don't just provide goods and services, many provide space for friends and neighbors to connect. For some businesses, it isn't just about ringing the cash register. Some of the more successful ones support community in a really powerful way, like last year's honoree, the North End Market. In the case of this honoree, it has provided space and complimentary treats for 17Strong to come together. Its owner is generously given to the Friends of 17Strong Fund at the Hamilton Community Foundation. And it recently shined a light on this movement when it chose 17Strong as its benefiting organization in a recent fantasy football league among local restaurants. The winning restaurant's organization of choice would win the pot, and they did. For this and so much more, we're so grateful to you, Basil 1791, for demonstrating a commitment to our mission and supporting us along the way. Come on up, Mel. This is Monica from Basil 1791. Thanks, Mo. This next award is for a nonprofit public agency partner. Last year, the inaugural honoree was Hamilton City School District, and I'm so delighted to see so many representatives from our school district in the audience today. There's a seemingly endless number of nonprofits in town doing outstanding work leading to positive outcomes. Do you know what the best nonprofits in Hamilton have in common? They're all supported by the Hamilton Community Foundation. As Mayor Moeller refers to them, our guardian angel represents a legacy of the deeply generous spirit of a town that has never suffered from a lack of belief in the promise of what it could be. The foundation has grown throughout generations to become a profound source of good for Hamilton. It is nearly impossible to point to any positive outcome in Hamilton's recent history without acknowledging the way in which the Hamilton Community Foundation has supported it. The foundation supports the 17Strong movement today through its Friends of 17Strong Fund that you heard about from Kathy. And today we celebrate you, our guardian angel, the Hamilton Community Foundation. This is Katie Braswell from the Hamilton Community Foundation. All right, and the final one for me is the Volunteer of the Year. This one I'm just going to take a little bit longer. Hamilton is renowned for its selfless volunteerism, and I would challenge any city in the region for a pound-for-pound per capita volunteers per hour. Hamilton wins every day of the week. So many great volunteers have been recognized over the years, but this is just the second year that we've given this award through the lens of 17Strong. Our inaugural winner of this award last year was none other than Mr. Everywhere, Greg Bisdorf. I'm going to embarrass Greg a little bit since he wasn't there to get his award in person last year. But if Kathy Klink is the guiding light in 17Strong, then Greg Bisdorf is the pace car. And as a race fan, I know he appreciates that. Active engagement and volunteerism is what powers this movement. It's the fuel in the tank. It's how we build this bigger table to bring more minds and hands into the fold. Greg has a few nicknames. I called him Mr. Everywhere. He's also known as Biz or Busy Bone. But one nickname he has gives a little clue as to who our honoree is this year, and that's Batman. You see, it's rare for Greg to be alone at these cleanups or outreach events for 17 Strong. There's another person who's consistently working alongside him. If Greg is Batman, then Christy Land is surely Robin. Christy's boundless positivity is on display every day around Hamilton. It might be a smile and a wave as she's walking her dog around downtown or German Village. You might even have seen her most recently at our sign-in table at Third Eye Brewing for our social mixer. Christy, like Greg, is quite simply a doer, and doers get things done. I think I stole that from Home Depot. Christy is an example to all of us about how the accumulation of small deeds pile up to build a connected and inspired city. Your 2024 Volunteer of the Year, Miss Christy Land.
Here, Greg, hold it. You can hold it, Ash.
Say a word?
Thank you, 17 Strong.
Thank you. Finally, for our biggest and most prestigious award, the Kathy Klink Award for Neighborhood Leadership, I'm going to invite Carol Combs back up to the mic. Thank you.
All right, so this year I have the honor of presenting the Kathleen Klink Award for Neighborhood Leadership. This award is given annually to a Hamilton resident who works diligently in pursuit of building safe, clean, engaged neighborhoods. The awarded resident does this by connecting people within and between neighborhoods while building pride, identity, and a sense of place. The nominee must live in one of the 17 Hamilton neighborhoods. This award is named in honor of Kathleen Klink. Kathy is a true champion of our Hamilton neighborhoods. As a longtime public servant, Kathy has been instrumental in shaping the city's Neighborhoods Initiative, which has had and will continue to have a lasting impact in our community. Kathy's work on the city's strategic plan in 2012 laid the foundation for the Neighborhoods Initiative, which has since become a vital part of our city's fabric. Through her leadership, the 17 Strong neighborhood structure was formalized, bringing residents together to create positive change in their communities. Kathy's steadfast devotion to involving residents in creating the future of their neighborhoods and the city as a whole has helped fuel a new era of civic engagement in Hamilton. I'm excited to announce that this year's recipient of the Kathleen Klink Neighborhood Leadership Award is Erin Simpson. I'd like to share just a little bit about this amazing guy. Aaron is a lifelong resident of Hamilton and is the pastor at Freedom House Ministry on 12th and Hensley off of East Avenue. Aaron's unwavering dedication to the Jefferson neighborhood has truly made a positive impact on our community as he consistently works to make it safer, cleaner, and more engaged. Through events like caroling and cocoa, tacos and cookouts, and the Jefferson Cup, which is an awesome soccer event, Aaron brings the community together in meaningful ways. His leadership has brought joy and a sense of unity to the Jefferson neighborhood. Mayor Pat Mueller said it best, Aaron walks the talk. Thank you, Aaron, for your commitment to making our neighborhood and city a better place for all. Congratulations on this well-deserved recognition, and thank you for your passion and love for our neighborhood and city.
You know, first of all, I just want to thank so many great people I get to work with, and the 17 Strong, the micro grants we got to use for so many of these great events, and so many things that get to happen because of the generosity and kindness of so many people in this room. I think about like the Jefferson Cup that gets to happen because of the generosity of Frank Fearman and his family of donating that space that could become a part. I think about the nonprofits like the Boys and Girls Club, and I think about all the great volunteers and residents like Adriana and Vicky and so many others who do so much for the community of Jefferson and the neighborhood division. None of this could happen without your guys' partnership and things like that. Hamilton, as we've heard a lot today, has a story of redemption. And 25 years ago, you would never have guessed me to be here. See, 25 years ago, I was being raised by my grandmother, who, after seeing my dad die, who was my grandfather when I was 10, I was selling drugs, I was in gangs. In fact, during that same time, Chris Rock, in the stand-up special, he made a joke. He said, if your kid calls grandma mom and you Tammy, he's going to prison. Well, I called my grandma mom, and I called my mom, but I didn't go to prison. By God's grace, I'm standing here right now with you, serving Hamilton together, redeeming this city and Jefferson for the purpose of God's glory and our good. And so all the good things, all the victories, all the wins, all the stories of overcoming what we used to be, it has been, yes, by the work of our hands, but primarily by God's mercy and grace. And so, you see, friends, cities are built for generation, and our time in this story is short, but our lives are for eternity. And so our cities, our buildings, our movements are going to come and go, but what we do with this life for Christ is all that's going to matter for eternity. So friends, we get to build an awesome city, and let's build this together with love and mercy for even the least of these, because friends, if we is greater than me, if that we doesn't include everybody. And like last summer, we saw at the cookouts and tacos, there was city councilmen, there was nonprofits, there was residents, there was leaders, and we were talking, and someone who is known in the neighborhood for having just mental issues and homelessness, and he comes up and he's having one of his normal episodes. But if you're not from Jefferson, you don't know that's one of his normal episodes. And I saw Councilman Joe Lauer just so lovingly engage him. And so 17 Strong helps bridge that gap and create that table where resident, nonprofit, business, city, owner, landlord, and the homeless all get to come together and say at the end of the day, we are neighbors together in one city. And I'm so honored and thankful to be thought of. It's so cool to be on the other end of something other than the call for utility money. Now, don't not call us for utility money, but I like other things too. So, but I appreciate you guys so much, and thank you to be thought of again and again. Thank you, and I'm happy to be from Hamilton.
All right, at this time, I would like to welcome Mayor Pat Mueller and Councilwoman Susan Vaughn to the stage.
Wow. If you aren't inspired now, I don't know when you ever will be. This is unbelievable. The group of people that are here today are humble, extremely humble. I don't think any person who came on this stage ever thought when they applied for a microgrant or went out to do a cleanup that they would be congratulated and honored. That's not why we do what we do. And I want to thank every one of you in this room. As I saw people walking in, I've seen you in your green get-up, out with your picker-upper, out on the streets. I've seen you painting. I've seen you lifting those heavy blocks and helping others. And it's not because you want an award. It's because you care. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of all of council. This could not happen without the wonderful people of Hamilton. So again, I hope you are inspired today. And I want to mention a couple of things. Please apply for microgrants, our grants. This card is one of the most important things you can take home with you today. We can't make it much easier than by putting QR codes on here. So there are 3 really important reminders. One is about microgrants and applying. Maybe not for you, but share it with your neighbor. Please apply. March 9th is a deadline, and I believe, Sue Head and your committee, you may need a Saturday morning, afternoon, and night to review all the applications. It's hard. It's very hard. There is competition. But please, please apply. QR code. Second thing is our Neighborhood Summit. June 22nd will be our 2nd annual Neighborhood Summit. About a year and a half ago, we talked about how do we continue to bring our neighborhoods together. And Department of Neighborhoods initiated this idea of a Neighborhood Summit. Will anyone come? Well, last year we held it right here. We can no longer hold it here. We're too big for that. We outgrew it in the first year. So this year on Saturday morning, June 22nd, it's about a half-day summit of bringing neighborhoods together. You will hear speakers from all walks of life, nonprofits, people who are doing great things in the community, places you may have never even heard about, but all about our neighborhoods and our community. Please register to be a part of the summit. It will be held at Hamilton High School. We have breakout sessions, we have breakfast, we'll have a lunch, we have networking, and for those of you who missed it last year, register early. QR code again, make sure you register for the Neighborhood Summit. It will be bigger and better this year. Thank you to the Hamilton City Schools, also thank you to Miami Hamilton, who make these spaces available to us for our community. It's all part of giving and being part of giving back. And then the last thing is the ideas for breakout sessions. We try to bring in the best. We don't go out looking across the country at who can come in and talk about our city. We want people within the city that are here to share and to help us grow, communicate, collaborate, and become even better. So please, if you know of a presentation or a presenter that would be good for our Neighborhood Summit, QR code again, or if you just have an idea, what would you like to know more about? Please let us know. We look forward to seeing you in June. It's only 4 short months away, so please make sure that you register. And again, thank you all for all that you do to inspire us. I'll now turn it over to Mayor Moeller for a few final thank yous.
So I woke up today and my hair looked like Bernie Sanders. So that's why I'm wearing a hat right now. 17 Strong is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And our city needs 17 Strong and 17 Strong neighborhoods. What a celebration. Thank you all for being here. Many people in the world of 17 Strong are here right now. That includes neighborhood leaders, neighborhood volunteers, educators, school board members, the Hamilton Community Foundation, our great city team, some of which we do have here today, but I'm going to give all your names. Michael Ryan, Carla Fear, Susan Vaughn, Joel Lauer, Tim Knabb, Eric Pullman, Joshua Smith. I'm not sure if he's here, but he was all part of the start of 17 Strong with Kathy Klink. And if he was here, I'd ask you to applaud him for all that he has done for strengthening our neighborhoods. We have state representatives here. Representative Carruthers. We have Butler County Commissioner here, T.C. Rogers. Even a Butler County Recorder, I think, is involved with 17 Strong. Danny Crank, I'm not sure if he's here or not, but he was on the list. If I read off all the names of special people here, you'd all be standing up. So I'm not going to read off all your names. But I'd like to applaud all of you and have all of you applaud each other right now. Special thanks to Miami University Regionals and Brett Couch for providing this great center, and having the regional campus here in Hamilton is a huge, huge thing. I want to thank also the two women in the kitchen which did the breakfast. Our presenting sponsors, Kruger and Hodges, Hodges and Kruger. Call them if you need them. Thank you to them because they're Hamilton guys. Also Pawnee Water, and the example of their product is right in front of you. Inside Out Art Studio, professional artist. When somebody wins one of those awards, you cherish that Inside Out Art Studio award because it's done by great professional artists. And congratulations to all the award winners because they're tremendous things. In that forum, I mean, that brought me chills. I mean, just hearing about what's going on inside our city, which every other city in this nation, I'm sure, would be jealous of. No doubt about it. Thank you to Beth Art Printing for their printing products that they brought. And do not leave yet, because Ainsley is going to be taking a group photo, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, Peggy? And this 17-strong group of volunteers who put this together, put together another great celebration. A round of applause for them. Peggy, Sue, and the entire team. You ready, Ainsley, to take a picture? Is it going to be a picture from up here?
Ready? 1, 2. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Make sure you socialize. We still have the room for a few more minutes.